Hello, everyone. So, Andrew and I are here today to talk about why we need expanded states of consciousness in a modern world. So, Andrew, my question to you is what do you think why we need in this modern world to tap into expanded states of consciousness, and what are expanded states of consciousness?
Okay, so for me, expanded states of consciousness are aspects of ourselves that we find it difficult to access on a day-to-day basis. So they're not readily available to us as we go about our daily lives. Yeah, very simple definition.
Mm.
So we have a conscious mind and we have an unconscious mind. The unconscious mind is aspects of ourselves that we can't access immediately, easily. And there are ways and methods and medicines that we can utilize to help access those states of consciousness. So your other question was why?
Yes, and also which techniques do you use in your personal life to tap into these expanded states of consciousness, for example?
For example, so for me, and there are many others, for me personally, I think the first method that I ever used for really getting in touch with these states of awareness was breathwork. Okay.
Yeah.
And breathwork continues to be my main way of accessing these states of awareness that I don't normally have. So yeah, breathwork's probably the most central one that I use. I also use movement. So I like to dance. So I do a practice called 5 rhythms dancing, which is very joyful, but also allows me to access states of mind that I wouldn't normally be able to access, parts of myself that I've lost touch with, can come back into my awareness by moving, by dancing to music. And talking about music, I think music is another pathway, if you like. We use music in the type of breathwork that we practice, right, as another pathway to access those parts of our psyche that we can't find normally. So movement, and also plant medicine is another method that I use. These friends that nature has provided for us, which can change the pathways in our brain to help us find these parts of the universe that we don't normally have we can't see.
Mm. So, do you feel that expanded states of consciousness are like an opening up of our consciousness, so we can see more than we see in our day-to-day lives?
Yeah, so there's two things that come up for me. There's the personal unconscious, so this is parts of myself, that might have been lost. Perhaps they weren't acceptable to my family when I was very young. In my family, it was not okay to be angry, for instance. So there's angry parts of myself, which I found it very difficult to express anger for many, many years, Sandra.
Yeah.
Breathwork especially was, for me, a very powerful technique to get in touch with my anger, the younger parts of myself that are very angry and very, rageful. And yeah, because in anger, there's a lot of power, right? And without that power, we can feel very limited and very like we can't really express ourselves, or I couldn't express myself. So there's the personal unconscious, and there's also the universal unconscious. So, our ancestral history, for instance, we talked a little bit about that. We were chatting before, so we can tap into our ancestors' experiences, personalities, things that have been passed down generation to generation. but also the natural world, right? We have a connection to that natural world. You know, we've lost it because of the way we live our lives now, right? We don't have that. I think in the past we had a stronger connection to that. We used to have a stronger connection to the land, to the sea, to the air, but we don't have so much now because so many of us spend our lives in a different environment, maybe working in an office most of our lives, or watching TV, or on the internet, or you know, so that's kind of been lost. But we still have that. It's still there. It's still, we can access it. There's connections to animals. There's my little dog sitting behind me here, my wonderful, my wonderful dog. Yeah, for me, I have certain spirit animals that I can be in touch with, that help me. They're here to help guide me in my journey on this planet. That's been very powerful, a very powerful awakening for me. I know that's been true for you as well.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Plants. I'm just looking at your patcho plant next to you there.
Oh, let me show you how big it is.
Yeah.
And it has flowers. Look at the flowers. How
Yes.
amazing they are. They are pink. This is the Mapacho rustica plant, Tobacco rustica plant. Yeah, that is living with me.
You take with you wherever you go.
Yeah, that's right. Even in the car, I bring it back and forth.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we can access this connection that we have naturally, that we've lost, to all these different realms, the universal realm and also the personal realm.
Thank you so much. Yeah. And if I may tap into that and expand a little bit on what you said for my own universe, is that with the expanded states of consciousness, I learned that my day-to-day life is so small, and it's like an iceberg, you know, this little tip of the iceberg is the day-to-day consciousness for me. And these 95% of the unconscious, which is there in my being, I couldn't have access to. So by tapping into that, I got to know how much wisdom there is in our being, not only in mine, but in every human and not human being on this planet. And I got to know also this wider view on my own life, my own ancestral line, everything that I hold, the family conditioning, for example, the collective conditioning, and how small and restricted it made me. And I felt stuck. I felt really stuck and unfree at a certain point in my life before getting to know that there is a possibility to tap into something bigger and to discover my own purpose and my own possibilities in a much larger and bigger way, and to also understand others better, to have better connections and deeper connections and deeper relationships with other humans and plants and animals, and as you said so beautifully, our surrounding universe, right? Yeah. So to not feel alone anymore. And I felt very alone in my life because I always felt a little bit different, you know, and I didn't know why, and I felt alone and I couldn't really express that, why I feel that way. And by practicing over many, many years now, expanded states of consciousness, I got to know myself better, and I can also see much better and feel much better my emotions and who I am and how I belong here. So the belonging was such a beautiful part of reconnection.
Okay. Can I ask you a question, Sandra?
Yeah.
As you were talking, something came up for me about disconnection, and the way we live our lives now is often very disconnected, right? Just from ourselves and from each other and from the natural world. Is there something about expanded states of consciousness allowing us to come back into connection?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's for me the biggest point is the deep connection that I feel now, and it's deepening, of course, every time I practice, it's deepening the connection to myself, first of all, because I feel that without the connection to myself, I can't have a big connection, a deep connection to someone else. And first I need to know who I am so I can know who someone else is and really see and feel this other human soul or this other animal or other plant spirit, you know. So I feel I belong here now, and I never felt in my life that I belong here. And I also think that we are collectively in a pivot point right now, in a collective um, point on this planet where we see that the structures that we as a human race have built, they don't go further anymore. So we need to change something collectively as well, because we have exploited ourselves and we have exploited the earth.
Mm-hmm.
And there needs to be another way. There needs to open up another way, and we need and we can heal that, you know, by healing. And I don't like this word anymore so much, because healing is like used in a way on social media and a lot. This healing, what does healing mean? It's actually integration of what we hold in our bodies, what we hold in our consciousness. So I like more integration than healing.
Is it something about rediscovering and then integrating?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Another question came up for me about safety, because in the Freedom Tribe we work with expanded states of consciousness. That's the core of what we do, right?
Yes.
But there's something about needing to take this very seriously and do this very safely. And I wonder if you could speak about the importance of that and how we approach that in the work that we do.
Well, you know, safety is kind of the baseline. So to find a safe space to go into an expanded state of consciousness is the baseline. We need to feel safe to do so. Otherwise, we first of all, our psyche doesn't give us the possibility to go so deep, because if we don't feel safe, our psyche stops us from going deep automatically. That's the amazing thing about the psyche. So the psyche knows exactly. And the second thing is that we can be re-traumatized by unsafe spaces. And we don't want that. So I have seen in my personal life, and yeah, I have experienced quite a few of unsafe spaces where facilitators think they are trauma informed and they are not actually. And the space was not safe, and a lot can happen in unsafe spaces.
Yeah.
So we need to have the trust in the facilitators. We need to get to know them, first of all, really well.
Yeah.
And we need to feel safe.
So for me, I think there's two things that you talked about: trust, right?
Yeah.
So a big thing for us is forming relationships, right? It's forming relationships with the people that are brave enough and curious enough and open enough to come and say, right, this is the time for me. I need to make the next step.
Yeah.
We form what we'd like to call deep, trusting relationships with these people. Yeah. And there's also something I wonder about, the deep work that we've done ourselves allows us to provide the space for other people to go as deep as they need to go,
Yeah.
to access what they need to access.
Yeah.
Would you agree with that?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
And actually, I'm really grateful that I have experienced unsafe spaces, so I know how it feels.
Yeah.
And I know, and we know how to create safe spaces now. And we do the best that we can to establish a deep relationship to each and every participant that comes to us and is courageous and bold, to have this inner fire, that there needs to be an opening. And people that come to us, they quite all say the same thing: I'm ready to do the next step, and I feel stuck, and now I'm ready to release and to go into it boldly and courageously. So that's so amazing when I hear this from people, because then I feel they are ready, really ready.
And quite often when and I'm talking from my own personal journey, actually, when I've been stuck, when I perceive myself as being stuck, like I don't know what to do next, I don't know where to go, it's because I've been disconnected from parts of myself.
Yeah.
And what's around me.
Yeah.
So it's back to connection, isn't it, again,
Yeah.
and discovering parts of ourselves, and then back to expanded states of consciousness. This is how we can become unstuck.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah, totally. This is such a beautiful conversation, and there is so much to say about that. But I love that you asked about the safety, because this is really the main part of the setup and the most important part.
This is our core value.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah. So we can trust and then surrender into this expansion.
Yeah.
That is happening in these states when we tap into our unconscious and feel the wisdom that we hold already inside and that we haven't seen. Yeah. Is there anything else you want to add to this short conversation today?
I guess I just wanted to, I'm just reflecting on the way that we work is a very intimate, the way we work in terms of the retreats that we put on. And the ratio between participants and facilitators is very small. So we can form those very deep relationships, not just before the retreat, but during the retreat and after the retreat. And for us, I think that's really, really important, right?
Oh, yeah. Because as we have seen in our personal journeys and lives, the integration part is the most important one.
Yeah.
And I was talking a little bit before about healing is actually integration. So the integration work, I can only say from my last journey that I will be integrating this last journey probably for the rest of my life. And I will have these jewels with me and this light with me for the rest of my life from my last expanded state of consciousness that I went into. And I'm really grateful to have had great support from Agnieszka, who is the third member of our team. Yeah. So peer support for us as facilitators is extremely important as well.
Yeah. So I guess that there's a few themes emerging as we're talking about the work that we do, right? And one of them is connection.
Yeah.
Is connection to connection. The other one's safety. And the other one, which you've touched on a lot, is integration. Not just doing this work in a fast way, but doing this work in a deep, slow, intimate way, and then really working on maintaining this discovery, what we've discovered, and making this an integral part of our lives, right? So we take it forward and move forward on our journey. We don't just move on to the next thing.
Yeah, I feel that the most beautiful part is that we can take out of an expanded state of consciousness is a lasting change.
Yeah, transformation.
And that's transformation, exactly.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's just this little peek into the light, into the everything that surrounds us, and then we go back to the old pattern and the old way. Yeah. And it should be, or it can be, lasting.
Yeah, and I feel like this is a whole other discussion, or maybe another video.
Yeah.
But there's something about neuroplasticity, and we can actually change the pathways in our brain as a result of this work we do with expanded states of consciousness. So, you know, the brain actually changes. So the changes are there for us as we move forward in our life. It's not like, if we really integrate, it's not like we do this work and then it's gone.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I love that so much, because sometimes people feel that expanded states of consciousness have only to do with emotions and with spiritual work, but it's actually changing our physical body as well.
Yeah. Thank you for saying that.
Yeah.
I think that's another whole video, right?
Yes. Okay, my friend, something else that comes up, or are we complete for today?
I think we're complete for today. Thank you so much, Sandra. I really enjoyed this conversation with you.
Thank you so much for tapping into these expanded states of consciousness and why we need them so much in our time that we are in right now, with so much turmoil and so much chaos around us, you know, and so much fire on the planet, like political fire and actual fire in the Amazon, and so much things going on. I feel that we really need safe spaces to reconnect and to feel the love and the joy again of life, even if there is chaos outside. But we are the ones who change this world. It has to come from us. And then it ripples out. It's a ripple effect. So we can change ourselves, but at the same time, we change the collective when we do the work on ourselves. And that is why I'm doing this work.
Yeah. I think it's a perfect note to finish on, Sandra.
Thank you so much. And to all of you watching this, thank you for sticking with us to the end. And we will see each other in the next video very soon. Bye.